guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to go through another live trade with you guys. In this trade, I did take a loss. I traded Netflix and I ended up taking around an $1,800 loss on Netflix. I did take two trades prior to taking Netflix, which I was green on the day. With my Netflix trade, I didn't cut my losses soon enough and I did size up slightly. So on the day, I was down around $1,100, I believe, if I remember correctly. So I'll kind of go through the entire trade with you guys, run you through kind of my trading plan and if I stuck to it, my mindset, and psychology behind the trade. With that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment down below. And yeah, let's just get started. All right, guys, welcome back. So let's get started. And just 3 weeks later, my monitor is still on the floor. So yeah, let's just ignore that. All right, so like I said, I traded Netflix. I took this trade on the 14th, which was Tuesday, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. And I'll go through exactly what I was thinking and I'll show you guys the trade. So I was watching Netflix below 580 on this day. So Netflix looked good below the 580 level. That was the level that I was watching and I was waiting for the NASDAQ to break. It's VWAP here, which I'll show you the mistake that I had made on it, but you can see that I was waiting for the NASDAQ to break this 15,460 level, which was also its VWAP level, for me to take Netflix below 580. The problem is that NASDAQ faked me out, and you guys will see that in just a second. So entering at 580, my stop loss was 582 and my target was 578 and 575. So I was buying puts to the downside. Now, if we go ahead and look at the trade, or look at Netflix here on the chart. So, and this trade was around 952. So let's go ahead and take a look at what was going on. So this was the NASDAQ here. This was Netflix on the 5-minute and Netflix on the 1-minute, okay? So I took Netflix right around here. So I took it at the 952 candle. So you can see that this 5-minute candle at 952 wicked really hard, wicked to the downside. So what this really shows is that sellers tried to push the stock down below the level. However, buyers stepped in to buy it back up, which is why there's this huge wick to the downside. So if we look at the NASDAQ here, you can see that NASDAQ also broke below its VWAP at that 950 candle. So it did show signs of a bearish move. However, Netflix just didn't end up making the move. It didn't have enough volume. It didn't have enough sellers behind it, so it wasn't able to make the move down below 580. On top of that, the NASDAQ's move down wasn't as strong as I had anticipated to begin with. There was a lot of wicking. So if we look, like I said, my initial entry was going to be below 580 with a target of 578 and 575. Now, if we look here on the 1-minute on Netflix as well, one mistake that I made here is I got in on the breakout candle. I didn't wait for a confirmation candle. On top of that, NASDAQ was approaching another level of support at 15,430, which is a strong level of support on the NASDAQ. So I should have waited for the 953 candle to confirm the hold below 580 on Netflix, and I did not. On top of that, Netflix had already made a nice move down, so it was time for it to pull back. All right, so on that day, these are the trades that I took on Tesla. So I took Tesla twice, so I was up around $800 some on the day. You're going to see me switch to Netflix here and get in. And I rushed this entry. Like I said, it was at 952. So towards the end of this 952 candle, it pushed down a lot. I did rush the entry. I did not wait for the confirmation. So here's Netflix. You can see I entered here at 690, my price, and the fill was at close to the end of the 952 candle. I was up on it slightly when I first entered the trade. You can see here I was up. So like I said, my target was 578 on the downside was my first target, and then 575. There wasn't a lot of volume on the candle. That second candle, like I said, reversed really hard, and you're going to see this come down. This is the premium chart, but it shows pretty much what the stock was doing. So stock ends up coming back down at that 953 candle. So if we look at the chart, I entered at 953 or 952. My stop loss on this was 582. So a break of 580. My stop loss was 582, and you can see Netflix retested that 582 level perfectly. It was a previous level on Netflix. On top of that, it was a level that it kind of touched pre-market as well, or in the morning as well. Retested that 582 perfectly, so my stop loss was good there. Came back down slightly. I could have locked here because I was up. However, I did think that the NASDAQ was going to continue down. And around here is the 958 candle. If we look at the 955 candle, it did come down slightly, but it was not able to break the 15,430. NASDAQ even made a move down all the way to 15,400, close to 15,400. However, buyers bought it back up. And unfortunately, even though it made that move down, Netflix did not react as it was making that move down, which is why I got caught in a reversal here. And if we take a look, this is a pretty long trade, so I'm not going to let it play all the way through because it's just too long. But let's forward. So right now it's the 953 candle. As you can see, it's pulling back. Usually I'm pretty calm during pullbacks. I wait until the stock hits my stop loss and holds above my stop loss before I exit the trade. And honestly, the entire market still showed signs of weakness. And you can see later in the day, Netflix did end up making the move down. The overall market did flush later in the day. Whoops, where'd it go? 914. You can see the NASDAQ even flushed later in the day as well. It just wasn't when I was in the trade, which is fine. I mean, that happens. Netflix retested all the way back up to 585, which was a previous psych level on it. 580 to 585 makes sense for the retest, but that is a very hard retest for anyone to hold. On top of that, my premium would have been crushed. Even though it's in the beginning of the week, at the same time, I don't hold unless I see a very, very strong sign of bearish momentum. I would not hold something like this. I would get out, especially on top of this. Usually I use VWAP as a level of support and resistance. Netflix broke above VWAP, so this was, even if I had waited until here, it's not something that I would have held because to me this shows signs of a reversal. Market was choppy in the beginning and then finally showed signs of bearish momentum towards the end of the day, which is when Netflix started to sell off and make the move later in the day. If I did hold this all the way through, it would have been a bag hold. There would have been no technical analysis behind this. So I got out. Let's go ahead and take a look and watch the video here. So I'm still in right now. I'm going to forward some of this. Okay, so this was when Netflix pulled back and then made the move back down. I was up very slightly, not a lot. I still held the position because I did think that Netflix would break the 580 level all the way through and be able to hold it. However, it didn't, and you can see I was up. However, I did not lock it because I did believe that the market had more bearish sentiment. On top of that, NASDAQ was coming down, which to me showed signs of weakness. It's just that Netflix did not react the way that I would have hoped it would have reacted as the NASDAQ fell, which is why I didn't lock my profit. And it wasn't that big of a profit, but I was still green from the loss. And right here, you'll see that it starts to pull back down. And if we look here, this was when I was still in profit. It broke right around here at the 579, but it was still not able to hold below 579. This was the NASDAQ candle here. Right here. So the 10 o'clock candle here, this was the 958. So this is a 955 candle. So to me, on this 5 minute on Netflix, on NASDAQ, it still is bearish. It's not until the end of the 10 o'clock 5 minute candle where buyers start to step in. So Netflix did not react the way that then I had hoped with the NASDAQ to the downside. Buyers stepped in, bought the stock back up, and I ended up getting caught in a reversal here. So let's go ahead and watch this through. I forget exactly when I exited this trade. Like I said, my stop loss was 582. And you can kind of see my thought process here in the Discord. So in Netflix puts at 952, kind of just talking myself through it with the Discord members, had my stop loss retested. NASDAQ and SPY did break down. However, Netflix was not reacting. So you can see I was pretty much talking everything through. and it just was not reacting. Even though the NASDAQ was falling, Netflix was not reacting to it like I had hoped, and I ended up taking a loss, like on the day was around $1,000. But if we forward this a little bit, okay, so right around here, this is the 1010, so let's go ahead and take a look around 1010. So yeah, I always wait, and this may be a good or bad thing, but I always wait for the stock to hold above my stop loss before I exit it, or I see a volume behind the move on the retest. So I did get out on a really bad candle here on Netflix because it was a huge bullish candle. And because of that, I ended up taking a bigger loss than I would have if I got out somewhere around here, right when it touched my 582. That's just how I trade when I scalp. I always wait for the stock to hold above my stop loss. Sometimes that does give me a bigger loss margin. However, it has saved me a lot from getting out of trades during the retest. So if we look here, you're going to see me exit, I believe, like I said, at the 1010 candle. So it comes down. I'm down around $1,500 on it right now. This is the 1011. Oh, I ended up getting out later than I thought, actually. So this was actually a really bad exit too. Should have gotten out right at the 1010 candle, at the open of the 1010 candle, because it did hold above the 582 level, which was my stop loss. So I did hold this a little bit too long, which is why I took a little bit of a heftier loss than I would have. Because right now it's 1011 here. Dang, when do I exit this? This is a really long trade. All right, I think I gave up here. All right, so right here I put in a sell order at 1011, close to the end of the 1011 candle for it to go through, and the order gets filled at 1011.44. I got in the trade at $6.90, and I ended up taking about $1.90 loss on this. Got out at around $5 with a loss of around $1,800 on this. Overall on the day, like I said, I took a loss of about $1,000. So my exit was at 1011. Like I said, on this trade, my exit was a little bit delayed. Just because I should have gotten out on the 1010 candle. But like I said, sometimes I use my VWAP as a level of support and resistance, and I thought that the Netflix would reject its VWAP. And if we look at the 5-minute time frame, it does end up rejecting the 21-day EMA, not really able to hold above VWAP. However, I wasn't holding on the 5-minute. When I scalp, I pay attention to the 5-minute. However, I don't hold the retest on the 5-minute. On the retest, I pay attention more to the 1-minute time frame, but you can see on the 5-minute, created a nice little H pattern and then continued its way back down. However, on this was just too big of a loss. Like I said, I should have gotten out at the 1010 candle as bullish momentum was stepping in, buyers were stepping in. Should have gotten out here. I held this trade way too long because I really was bearish on the market, because you can clearly see the NASDAQ was still very bearish. It was trending below its VWAP, trending below its 9-day EMA, showed every signs of a sell-off. However, Netflix did not react how I'd want to. And this is just one of those trades where you just get stuck and you get caught in a false breakout. You can do everything right. You can watch everything correctly. However, the market just doesn't move how you would like it, or the stock doesn't move how you would have anticipated it to move, which is completely fine. Like I said, I did offset some of the losses with the profit that I made earlier in the day. However, overall, I didn't take any other trades after. I don't believe I did. I just wanted to walk you guys through this. Usually when it comes to a retest, I'm pretty calm unless I honestly see like a huge candle. I stay pretty calm during the retest. I watch my stop loss. I'm kind of just walk myself through what could potentially happen and what I need to anticipate. For this one, I did react a little bit slower than I would have on other trades, just because, like I said, NASDAQ was showing me bearish momentum on the 5-minute, which is why I held Netflix a little bit longer than I should have. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys to be able to see my loss and how I kind of walk myself through it. And I did have a trading plan behind it. I stuck through a trading plan. The only thing that I would have probably changed on this is I would have exited a little bit sooner than I had, just because it did end up causing me to, my premium did drop a lot more than it would have if I had exited it slightly, like a minute earlier than I did. Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and comment down below. If you have any video suggestions of videos you guys would like me to do, I know I have some suggestions that I've lined up for you guys, but anything else you can think of, go ahead and comment down below as well. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!